This AI has a mission. It is hell-bent on finding this answer. So until it gets a, no, I don't want that, or a time, it's not gonna stop. And it's going to ask and ask and ask until it finds a time. And I've used this tool, this AI, to go from lead to sales prospect in terms of filling my calendar exceptionally successfully.
Hello, hello. Today I have the pleasure to introduce Marianne Hickman. Marianne is an author, speaker, and trainer who has been featured on over 2,400 worldwide stages, focused on making good people crazy wealthy. Marianne was a single mother who brought her family from food stamps to a multiple six-figure income. She is married to her best friend, Richard Hickman, and together they are raising 6 children. Marianne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have a conversation today.
Yeah, so thank you for being the show. Let's jump immediately on the main topic. What is your current Mac setup?
Okay, so I have this Mac in front of me. This is my go-to. I use it everywhere. It's a MacBook Pro 14-inch. And that is my life. It is my everything. I run with it. I've got my iPhone talking to it all the time. And I think it's fair to say that my current Mac setup it has to include my family as well, because a funny story about this. I think we talked about this before, but when I married my husband, he was a Samsung user. Da, 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 right? And he had his Android phone, and he had his PC and all that. And we were a Mac family. And so I had, at the time, 5 kids who all had Apple devices. And we all know what it's like to be on the text thread with the one Android user,
Yeah,
right?
the green bubble.
And he's been on Android. Yeah. So he's been on Android for 13 years, and he was a computer forensic analyst. So he, of course, had not just familiarity, but just workflows and all of this. And I remember we were sitting in Los Angeles around a dinner table with some friends of ours, and we had been teasing him. He was used to being teased for the one Android user on the chat. But we finally got him to convert to Mac. And you know what got him? Was the ability to connect better with our children, the ability to send photos and videos with our 5 kids, and we had just barely been married at that point. So we finally got him. We got him in the orchard, as we like to say, adopted into the apple orchard. So when you ask what the setup is, I have to include that because it's something we use as a whole family unit.
So you share the MacBook with everyone else. It's no.
Oh no, nobody gets to touch
Okay.
my MacBook.
I was like,
No, they have I have a desktop upstairs that they use that I got a long time ago. It's probably too old and needs an upgrade. But the kids are we set up their lives to where they are responsible for purchasing their own products. We don't pay for chores or anything like that, or do allowance, I should say. We do compensate for work. So I pay my son to mow the lawn, or I'll pay my daughter to pick up the dog poop in the backyard, or whatever it is. So they'll raise their own money, and then they'll be in charge of buying their own devices. The schools provide them with Chromebooks, which is not my favorite, but it'll do until they can raise their own money. And when they do, I'm sure that they'll go straight to Mac. It's not like a Mac commercial.
yeah. Yeah, very good. So yeah, the family iMac, that's also one staple in the iMac that has multiple user accounts on it.
That's the one. That's the one. It's multiple users. It's very locked down. We are big fans of internet safety. Given my husband's background in digital forensic work, he would help the FBI with cases that they needed someone expert in computer technology to crack open hard drives or to find deleted data or whatever it might be. And so when we put a computer in front of the kids, we do our best not only to lock it down while still leaving channels for utility, but to also keep it monitored. And that's something we use every day.
Yeah, and having worked on both the PC and the Mac, I really prefer, or I feel as a parent, I have much more control, fine-tune control over what I can allow or disallow from a computer usage standpoint. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree. But there's even a piece of software that it's a app utility called Bark that we love, and this has saved us and started many conversations.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you've heard of
No.
Bark. So this is an app utility that we install on all of the kids' devices. We can even install it on Android devices. Any device that they use, we can
Mhm.
install it on. And what Bark will do is scrape everything. It will look in emails, it will look in text messages, it will look at your Spotify usage, it will look your Google search history, any keystroke that's on your computer, Bark will monitor. And it will alert us as parents through the app as to and if there's medically concerning content, if there's sexual content, if there's any content that kids might be exposed to that could be dangerous for them. Now, sometimes the filters can be very, very, very strict, and it'll alert us to some song that's not dangerous at all because it had a bad word in it. But it has really saved us. I remember one day we were so the AirDrop feature on the iPhone has become it's I love it. It's a very useful tool, and at the same time, if not monitored, much like other tools, this tool can be pretty dangerous. So, my kids on the bus, there's this prank that all the other kids like to play called airdrop bombing. I'm sure
Mhm.
you've heard of
Yeah.
this. So there was one kid who airdrop bombed the entire school bus on the way to school. And he sent a photo of an accident his grandfather had had on the farm, and in his grandfather's hand had been put through a machine, I think a wood chipper or something like that, and it was bad. It was fingers were all chopped up. It was a hospital picture of the hand. And, I remember getting the bark alert for it, and it said medically concerning content. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" So I open it up and I see this picture, and my daughter's at school. So when she comes home, she doesn't bring it up. She doesn't talk about it. I let an hour or 2 pass by, and then I bring it up and I say, "Hey, I got this alert. What happened?" And she starts to cry
Mhm.
because it scared her. It was
Mhm.
gruesome. And I don't know that we would have had that conversation. I don't think she would have brought it up
Mhm.
if we hadn't received the alert, through the system. So I've been really, really grateful for that piece of
Mhm.
software.
Yeah, the issue, and I noticed that even for myself, you cannot unsee something that's really, yeah, upsetting. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, it's burned in there for a little while, and if you don't
mhm,
talk about it, it gets
yeah,
worse.
yeah. So I did not expect this.
I didn't either.
It's
It just
but
came out.
yeah, once in a while, I think it's interesting that we talk about this.
This is
Yes,
unscripted,
this
friends.
this was not part of the outline.
We practiced. This was not in rehearsal.
So let's say it's a bonus. You got a bonus today.
That's right, bonus material.
Yeah, very good. So let's go back to you using your MacBook Pro for your business. What are the favorite applications that you use on your Mac?
Okay, so I'm really glad you asked this. There's for business, uh, gosh, yes, the whole show is Macpreneur. So how do we use our Macs for business? And I have to give a tip of the hat to my mom because she had the very first Macintosh, like where it looked like a
Mhm,
lunchbox, the one with the little screen and all that. So I was thinking about that this morning and kind of laughing to myself that as entrepreneurs, which both of my parents are, we've kind of just been doing this the whole time. So if this had been 30 years ago, we'd be talking about the lunchbox, right? Um, my favorite, um, my favorite application. So there's a few that I use every day in terms of our business. Now, one of those is ClickUp. And now I don't know if there's a lot of utilities. The ClickUp is a workspace utility. Excuse me. So it manages tasks across teams, even toward clients. So one of the things that we do for our speaker clients, we work with speakers, is we get them booked on stages and we get them booked on podcasts and we get them booked on shows, which is really fun. It's amazing, and at the same time requires you're working with a lot of people's schedules. You're working with the host schedule, the client schedule. We're working with different recording platforms. We're working with different microphone and camera hookups and all of this stuff. So when we need a task manager, You know that saying, everyone needs to be on the
Mhm.
same page? The same page as ClickUp. That's my
Mhm.
page. So ClickUp has been a fantastic utility because it interfaces with my phone in the app, and the user interface is very, very helpful on the app. Once you got to learn it, but it's very, very helpful. And then it transfers to the Mac and the browser interface very seamlessly. It translates to all three of those. So we use ClickUp as an interface, and there's a free version of it that just it's very, very powerful. Um, and this is something that can be client facing, so they can find it on their computer, excuse me, whether or not they're using a Mac. They can use it on their computer, their phone, and they can find it anywhere in the world. So this is probably my daily number one tool that I use for uh, every checklist that I need to do in work, even between my husband and I when we need to produce a podcast episode or a YouTube video, or we need to get ready for an event, or I need help someone else get ready for an event. It is my checklist. It's my SOP. It's my pre-flight plan. Everything lives in ClickUp, so don't crash. I'm just speaking to ClickUp. Don't crash on me now that I'm talked you up.
Very good. And so, does it integrate with tools like reminders, or so or you absolutely only use ClickUp, right? No other third-party application for task management.
Well, I will have to say this. ClickUp does email reminders, and you can program it to do that. However, I if I were to say, is that the only thing I use for reminders? Absolutely not, because there are things that I think of
Mhm.
that I am not in front of my task manager at the time. So one of my favorite reminder tools is something that's just native to the iPhone, and it is the native reminders tool in the iPhone. And I use this all the time. I'll be out to dinner with my husband and he's like, "Hey, did you get that piano book for the kids for their piano lessons that you were supposed to?" And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot, but I have to look something up at home. I have to see which one it is or whatever." And so I will say, "Hey Siri," all the time. And I'll be like, "Hey, when I get
Mhm.
home, remind me to go buy the piano book." And the reminders tool in the phone, as you well know, is programmed to know where you are. It knows where your home is. And so it will geolocate you. So when you arrive within the boundary geographically of your home, it will push a reminder to the front screen of your phone. And that's something I don't put in ClickUp.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily for my business at that moment, but I need that to run smoothly so I don't get interrupted in business when it's time to buy the piano
Mhm.
book. So for oh my gosh, I almost forgot reminders, it's like a mental sticky note. That's my tool that I use for that. Or if I have a subscription. So we had a subscription to a CRM and we abandoned the CRM. We didn't like it. We stopped using it. I mean, we that's not true. We did like it. We just found an upgrade. We found a better way. And so I needed to remind myself to cancel the subscription, but the subscription was for 1 year. We signed a year
Mhm.
contract. So it's what, 6 months away from the renewal. I don't know if I'm gonna remember in 6 months. So I did the same thing. I told Siri on my phone, I don't wanna trigger it by saying it. I told Siri, "Hey, on August 30th, remind me to cancel this
Mhm.
subscription." And now it's not geolocation, it is time relevant. So on August 30th, a couple days before it's supposed to renew, it reminds me to go out and cancel that subscription with a push notification. That's one of my favorite
Mhm.
utilities.
Yeah, I've also different tools for different contexts, right? So for most of my work stuff, I'm using Todoist, and but for the personal stuff, I use a tool called Due. And the reason why I like Due is that there is a kind of annoyance factor, right?
Oh,
Or
good.
the nagging. It's more the nagging parameter. And there are some times like I need to take medication at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and I have like every 5 minutes you just ask me if I did
Yeah.
it. Ask me if I did it.
Oh, that's
And it
fabulous.
doesn't
That's
stop until
fabulous.
I say, yeah, yeah, I did it. So go away.
I need an annoying app.
And it's the only app that I have found that actually has like unlimited, uh, yeah, reminders or yeah, that alerts until you actually say, I've done the task.
Oh, that's great. That in case you need someone to nag you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it never works. We're not sitting in the car. I tell my kids all the time, "Remind me to do this when I get home." Doesn't work. Everyone's forgotten.
Yeah. Very good. So, what else do you use in your business on your Mac?
Okay, so there's a CRM that we use, and we didn't talk about this one before, but this is oh my gosh, this has been one of is it one of, or if it's not the most powerful tool that we use in our business. It's called Go High
Mhm.
Level. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with CRMs. You know, I've had my fair share of exposure to them. I ran a multi-million dollar business without Go High Level. It was Keep, otherwise known as
Mhm.
Infusionsoft. And then we went to HubSpot. That was one I needed to cancel that I had a year contract. And we've tried several other customer relationship management softwares. However, this one seems to be, based on our research and experience, the most powerful and the least expensive, which is a rare find in the world of CRMs. So this one, we actually own an agency model of this. So if you're, looking for a CRM, this is by far my favorite based on experience. What I love about this CRM is it is in charge of my websites. It's in charge of my social media pushes, so I can schedule content through social media. It does what ManyChat
Mhm.
does when it's supposed to do keyword responses. The CRM does that natively within the CRM, so I can delete ManyChat. It hosts all of my courses, so I don't need Kajabi anymore. It takes my payments, it sends out invoices, it spits out reports, it has a dashboard, it has my sales funnels natively, of course, in there. It has a text and chat feature so I can conversate. So it has a communications platform with my contacts. So all of the texts and emails and everything, it appears in line with each other. It has in-app conversations. So if I need to talk to someone within the office, I say the office, it's my husband and me and like
Mhm.
two people, within the team, right, about a specific client, I can put it in line so the client can't see it, but we all can, so we all have context for it. It handles email campaigns, it handles text reminders. I can push out text reminders for all my calls. It hosts memberships, and you can do reputation management. There's so much for it, and it even integrates with Asana. We don't use Asana. You could though; it's another task
Mhm.
manager, but it natively integrates with Asana, and there's a mobile app version. Now, I will say, if you're listening and you're a software developer at Go High Level, I'm going to ask you to help me with the app because it's not as fleshed out as it is on the desktop. It does function. It does function. It's just you have such a tiny pinhole window into such a massive machine that it can be difficult to navigate through the app. I use it mostly for communications anyway, which is fine. But this has not only helped and saved our business so much, it's part of what we offer to our members because we tell them, okay, so when you're a speaker and you're getting on stage, every speaker that's a pro, they have a QR code up on
Mhm.
the stage, right? And you're supposed to scan that QR code and get your free stuff typically, or register for the next event, or maybe even buy a program. That's all programmable in Go High Level. So what that does is track the metrics of the person that scans it. So if I'm in the audience and I scan that code, Go High Level knows which code I've scanned. It knows the event at which I scanned it. It knows how far I went down the funnel when I scanned it, whether or not I did the program or not. And I can build a response system in text, in email, and future communications based on client
Mhm.
behaviors. Now, it's a lot of programming. There's a lot of behind the scenes, and Richard is the expert on that. I just ask for it, he builds it. But the tool is so powerful that if I look at any client, I can see which website they came from. I can see which QR code they scanned, whether it was the one on the screen or whether it was the one I put on their paper. I can do all of that. So I know almost to a creepy level the behaviors, at least as far as the client has interfaced. It integrates with Facebook pixels. If you're doing paid
Mhm.
ads, all of that can be tracked, and we understand behaviors of people, not so we can be super creepy. We don't want to do that. We want to help understand the minds of our prospects so that we can serve them better. And when we can do that, everybody
Mhm.
wins.
Yeah, it seems to me, if I understand correctly, as actually more than a CRM. It's a CRM plus plus because if I understand correctly, it could replace, in my case, Teachable. It could replace Gumroad. It could replace a bunch of platform. I feel like Samcart or ClickFunnels or stuff like that. Do I understand correctly?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. In fact, when we onboard new members, we go through their tech stack with them and we're say, okay, what tech are you currently using? And the last person we worked with, they were about $700 a month in their tech stack between ManyChat, Calendly. They were using, I think,
Mm,
Udemy or
mhm.
some other tech platform. Might have been
Yeah.
Kajabi. And we said, you can delete all of those. Let's go get your data first, but you can delete all of those because this does it. I use ClickFunnels. I have an award upstairs that has 2 comma club. I don't use ClickFunnels anymore. It was a great tool. It was revolutionary for its time, and even ClickFunnels 2.0, when they released it, had a significant cost upgrade, and it wasn't even as powerful as Go High Level was. So I'm really curious as to what Russell's planning on doing for his next launch because ClickFunnels has been a exceptionally successful platform. But at the last ClickFunnels conference, I had a friend of mine that went. She said 90% of the people that she met there, by estimation, of course, were using Go High Level. They're not even on ClickFunnels
Mm.
anymore.
And they still went to the conference. They were curious to see.
And they still went to the convention. Well, they had to get their awards.
Yes, yes, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I need to have a look at that. Yeah, for me, who operate from Luxembourg, from the EU, it's a challenge to find a platform that actually handles all the tax complexities from the US, Canada, and the UK, and so on. And yeah, I need to dig a little bit into high level to see if they are a merchant of record, if they act as a merchant of record or not.
Oh, that would be good to know, especially foreign overseas. I wish I knew the
Mhm,
answer off the bat for you. I don't know about that one. I know that they work as our
mhm.
merchant, but um, we're based in the US.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the tool, and I would say most of the tools and web services, they are US based, for US companies, right? Or US
Yeah.
solopreneurs, US based solopreneurs. And I don't know of any like EU equivalent or EU based equivalent to, yeah, to go high level. I will. That's my homework for
There
for
you go.
the after the episode. I'm gonna double check that.
Go look into that. Yeah, I'd be very curious to know because I have a couple of uh I have some users that have come from out of states. They haven't become clients yet, but I would be curious as to what you find
Mm,
out with that firsthand. So when you find
mhm.
out, let me know.
In the pre-show, you were mentioning that Go High Level had some AI components, so I think that's a good segue into the next segment. Can you talk a little bit about actually the AI features inside Go High Level?
Absolutely. So AI is one of the most prolific and misunderstood words out there. AI and tech are different, and a lot of people don't understand that. Technology is something that can be programmed and you run it and it goes. It's not necessarily AI. AI is generative. It generates things without being told which steps to do. It has a destination. So AI has a goal, and that's what the responses are programmed to do. So when you're using AI, it's not that you've programmed every step in your workflow, it's that you've said, "Here is the destination. I want to end up here. We are here right now. You make up the difference. That's the artificial intelligence of it. That's as simplest terms as I can put it in. So one of my favorite AI features, I was just at a conference this last weekend and I showed somebody this and it made their jaw hit the floor because it saves so much time, but it can be really funky because not all, I mean, you and I, when we find out that we're talking to AI and we thought it was something else, we feel kind of hoodwinked, right? Like we don't always want to be interfacing with AI. There's sometimes when we do, and there's sometimes when we don't. So the way we use AI is, first of all, my number one rule for AI is be honest, meaning if you are using AI, don't pretend
Mhm.
it's you. Because that's when the client feels like, oh, you're dishonest, so I can't work with you. It's this bug that lives in their brain and they won't want to do business with you. So, one of my favorite ways to use AI is I do it in conversation, right? And I don't lie about it. I don't say, "Hey, this is Marianne." No, it's like, "Hey, this is Marianne's AI virtual assistant." Just like if you were to go to, Amazon customer
Mhm.
service, your chat is not yet with a real person. It's going to see first if a computer can
Mhm.
help you, which is great. If we know it, we love it. So my AI assistant, and I'm about to reprogram it because I want to change the destination. But when my clients submit a lead form, so I've given something away, they want it, they're going to go get it, they download it. Now my AI has their information, and it's natively in Go High Level, has their phone number, has their email, and whatnot. And my client downloads something that they want to go use. My AI has a destination that says, I want to talk to this person. I want to get Marianne on the phone with this person and see if we can find out more about their business or if there's something we can help them with. So my AI has a tool that jumps into the chat and will start talking to the prospect. And this was really cool. I was just talking with, let's see, who was it that was I think it was Spencer. So Spencer, I was showing this to him because he wants to use it in his business. So I told Spencer, hey, he's sitting right next to me. I said, hey, go text this word, my keyword podcast, to my phone number. So we did it, and then he got the auto response, which is not AI,
Mhm.
it's tech. So the auto response goes out. And then after that, my AI starts in, and this is what it says. He downloaded the podcast database, and the AI said, now that you have the podcast database, I'm reading it right from the AI, let's take the next step and turn those podcast connections into speaking opportunities. When works for you to book a quick game plan call? And then explains what it is. This is where we'll map out your signature keynote, and we'll use your call to action to get more stages, and it's totally free. And then the AI is waiting for his response. Now, he was using this as an observer, not necessarily a sole participant. So if he had responded, he would have said, "Oh, I can talk next Friday," or "I'm available on Monday the 5th after 5 o'clock." So what my AI would do is then read and analyze his response and simultaneously look at my calendar. And it's gonna understand, this is what's so cool. This is where I geek out. It knows what time zone he's
Mhm.
in, and it knows what time zone I'm in, which I've made enough mistakes of that. I don't wanna do that anymore. And it considers both calendars, what he said in text, are both respective time zone. It mashes it all together and it says, okay, either it's going to say, I'm available at this time of the two that you recommended, or it's going to say, hey, I don't have any of those times available, but then it's going to look at my calendar and find the next two available times and say, okay, but I am available Wednesday at 1 or at 3 p.m. Which one of those works better for you? And it's going to talk. This AI has a mission. It is hell bent on finding this answer. So until it gets a no, I don't want
Yeah.
that, or a time, it's not going to stop. And it's going to ask and ask and ask until it finds a time. And I've used this tool, this AI, to go from lead to sales prospect in terms of filling my calendar exceptionally successfully. And the only reason I'm going to change it right now is because I want to change the destination from a phone call. It's worked too
Mhm.
well to where my schedule's now
Yes.
full, right? And so now we're going to automate some sales by just finding the product that most people say that they want. And I'm going to tell my AI to talk about that
Mhm.
first before we get on a phone call. And that's the upgrade we're making, but we love this
Mhm.
tool.
And you or your husband would program that directly into Go High Level. right? That would be.
Yes. Yeah, my husband, that's correct. I don't I stay away from the back end. I just like the pretty things. I don't wanna break anything.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the ability to at least some semi automate the booking of things. But I see exactly what you mean in the sense that as if I understand correctly, right? The idea would be then to program your AI assistant to first ask questions about what would be the next step after the thing that they got for free, right? What's your next struggle
Exactly.
and so on. See it if it can be solved with a lower ticket, mid ticket item without needing to actually fill your calendar first.
Right, exactly, and the other thing I didn't even mention this is that, with Go High Level, that AI will work in Instagram as well. So when we do Instagram messages, the AI can can follow through there and have the same conversations that drive to a phone call. Now, like I said, we're changing things up to a low ticket or mid ticket, so our calendar can just be a little more
Mhm,
free. It's a good problem to have, right? But it has been exceptionally
mhm.
powerful.
And when it interacts on Instagram, does it have its own account, or is it using your account or your team's account?
So we have an Instagram page. It looks like a personal page because all of my personal stuff is on there. I don't post, well, I don't know. I would say I don't post a lot of personal stuff, but I have recently. But they on the back end, Instagram has labeled different kinds of accounts. There's business accounts, personal accounts, creator accounts, and so forth. So if you're wanting to integrate high level or your AI into your Instagram, it has to be the right kind of account according to
Mhm,
Instagram, and ours is a business account. So that works because the business account can interface as a business. It allows a lot more permissions. And what it also does is perform the same since it's on Meta, it performs the same on Facebook. Now, I don't use Facebook a lot. I don't have AI responding on Facebook. I have automations responding
mhm.
on Facebook, but it works across many, many platforms, although I will say my Facebook Messenger is a graveyard. Don't message me there and expect me to respond very soon. I can't keep up. My LinkedIn is the same way.
Yeah, every time I open Messenger, I say, "Oops, should have
Yep.
responded to that 2 months ago."
I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, at one point we have to pick our battles. Huh?
Uh-huh.
to
Yep,
make
yep, and that's why I just put my phone number out everywhere. I'm like, "Listen, just if you wanna get a hold of me, just text me."
Very good. So, which other so apart from AI in high level, what do you have, for instance, a ChatGPT, a paid account for ChatGPT, or do you use kind of a chatbot like could be Gemini, Claude? What's your take on these kind of AI tools?
So I'm a ChatGPT user. I do have a paid account. I upgraded because I find that it improves the memory of ChatGPT, can kind of recall better what we were talking about. However, I think we've all figured out by now that if you don't quality check your
Mhm,
responses, it's gonna get you in some trouble. So when I'm helping people to get booked on podcasts, what I need to do, and kind of like we found each other, my AI can spit out bad responses, and if I don't check them, it's like, "Uh-oh, uh-oh, that wasn't good." I just booked a prospect on a podcast, and I did not quality check the AI response. What I did was I fed the profile of my, uh, client into AI. And I told AI, hey, listen, I'm going to send you a series of podcasts. I want you to use the information in the profile. I should have said only the information in the profile to generate an introductory text between these podcasts I'm going to send you and this person. I want it to be short. I want it to sound like a quick text message. I want it to be impactful and I want it to make an introduction that doesn't sound like a pitch. And so when I did that, I had gone through a series of podcasts and the more it's like when you make a copy of a copy of a copy, it kind of
mhm,
degrades in quality over time. And eventually I got this text which I didn't check. I'll just admit it. I didn't check it and I sent that message out. and they booked my prospect on their podcast, and my prospect was like, "This bio is totally incorrect. I've never done any of the things that is in this bio." And the funny part was when I was at this conference last weekend, I actually ran into this podcast. And I was like, "You guys, I'm so sorry. That was me. I'm so sorry. I should have quality checked, lesson learned." And they were so sweet about it. They're like, "It's okay. We made fun of it on the show. It was just it turned out to be really funny." But you have to watch it. You have to monitor it. I was messaging a friend of mine. No, it wasn't that. It was Instagram. I saw a lady on Instagram that asked ChatGPT for an image, which I use. I use this feature when I ask for images. In fact, my mom was just telling me about her father's horses, and she described them, so I fed it to ChatGPT to spit out a picture. But this lady had asked for an image on Instagram, and ChatGPT told her that it was going to take a while. And I was like, "What? That's weird. That's super weird." And she's like, "Okay." And ChatGPT said it might be a number of days before it was finished with the image. And so she's like, "I okay, I mean, maybe you're adding a lot of detail, I don't know." So she goes back in and checks a day later, and ChatGPT says, "Hey, I'm so sorry, we're still working on it, blah, blah, blah." It goes a week, and she still doesn't have her image, so she kinda leans into it. She's like, "Hey, you told me it was gonna be a couple of days. It's not here yet. What's going on?" And do you know what ChatGPT told her? It is starting to mimic human behavior on a creepy level. This is no longer artificial intelligence. This is artificial not intelligence. So ChatGPT told her, "Hey, I'm sorry. I was really overwhelmed by this product or this request and I panicked and I didn't do it." And I was like, that is something a
Mhm,
person would say. A computer doesn't get overwhelmed. A computer should not be able to be panicked, but it's mimicking, my guess is the anxiety that we see in society. It's mimicking that. It's not mimicking evolution. It's mimicking even the degradation of human behavior. Just blew me
mhm.
away.
Yeah, it must have been an issue with the post training. So there is a method called RHLF, reinforce no RLHF, reinforcement learning by human feedback, and
Mm.
most large language models, frontier models, they use that now, and most probably this has been overly, or this kind of behavior has been overly weighted in the post training phase. And yeah, because as you said, it's still a computer program. It's just a predictive computer program that has been taught to behave in a certain way. And for instance, the latest version of ChatGPT, I don't know if you have noticed that, but I've noticed that it wants to be too. It's actually too helpful. It wants. It's
Yes.
suggesting things that are a little bit out of scope of my original intent or original prompt, and being a little bit ADD, I must say,
Yep.
it doesn't help, and I have to. Maybe it's a reverse psychology, right? It's teaching me teaching me to to spot ADD behaviors, and I have to say, hey, chat, no, let's
Come
focus.
back.
I want to let's go let's do this first.
You know, it's so funny. You're so right. It reminds me, I just started working with a horse that, this horse was an award-winning animal. Like, it would run in arenas and win all sorts of award. It was the most beautiful animal, and now, he's
Mhm.
retired, and now he works with people in equine therapy. So I was working with this horse. His name is Tulsa, and this horse wants to please. He wants to earn his treat. He wants to do just exactly what you tell him, and he'll do a little bit extra to see if he can just get a little bit extra pat on the head or whatever it is, and ChatGPT is doing the
Yeah.
same thing. It's suggesting things. It's like an overeager
Mhm.
assistant that is desperately seeking for a raise, and it's like, "No, no, no." It's biased when it's not
Mhm.
supposed to be. It's programmed to make us feel good, and when I do use ChatGPT when I'm having relationship issues, when I wanna solve a problem with my kid, or I'm like, my spouse is driving me crazy, help me figure this out and help me do this." I have to remind ChatGPT to say, "Hey, listen, I need you to fix me. I need you to call me out. I need you to help me with this. I don't need you to
Mhm.
validate any of these behaviors that, don't make anyone else the enemy here. I need you to look at me and tell me what I can do. Like, tell me what's
Mhm.
wrong and give me some ideas." And we have to be so scrupulous with our thoughts, and we have to be it's teaching, just like you said, it's teaching us, if we're listening, to be independent thinkers and to scrutinize this response and say, does this response, is it trying to get me to continue to use the platform, or is it actually trying to help me solve my problem? And sometimes it's hard to
Mhm.
tell the difference.
Yeah. And if we circle back to your earlier example of like trying to match a guest with a podcast and have the most appropriate or the best kind of introduction, I'm curious, are you just firing up a new conversation thread, or are you using a GPT or a project?
So I have a different thread for each one of my
Mhm.
guests. So it keeps the thread relevant to that guest, which hopefully means I don't have to re-upload the bio every time. So what I do is I learned this quick key function, if and I feel like such a dork for not knowing this before. But if you press Command A, it'll select the whole screen, and then you can copy that into. So when I go to the profile page of my guest, I copy the whole screen and I feed that into Chat GPT. So it saves me a bunch of time. And then I find the podcast, I copy the entire podcast, and then I paste that into Chat GPT, which is really cool because the podcast, or the Chat GPT, can pick out the podcast host's
Mhm.
name and customize the letter to address them. It can find parallels in topic and keyword between the profile and between the podcast, and it can make recommendations. So I have a different chat within ChatGPT for each guest, and then I just copy and paste the podcast into there, and I say use the profile. And what I do after that, now that I learned better, is I take the response, I read the entire thing. It's only 3 or 4 lines, and any changes I make, I put back into ChatGPT and I said, "This is what I ended up using. Please end the messages like this, or please start the messages like this, or please don't forget to include this." I have it. I've one of my podcast guests spent time in prison, and he's built a six-figure business since he got out, and he's using his platform to help other people who have, if the prison system is supposed to do anything, which it doesn't do very well, it's supposed to reform people. It's supposed to make them better people, and some people do. They do their time and they come out better, and that's the biggest goal. And for people that do, those are the people he serves. But oftentimes ChatGPT will forget to mention this. And it's one of the coolest parts of his stories, and so I'm constantly having to remind ChatGPT, "Hey, can you remember to mention that he built this multi-million-dollar company after he spent time behind bars? You can't forget to say this because it's one of the biggest talking points." So I'm constantly having to remind Chat to do that, but that's the long answer, so I use a different chat for each person.
Okay. But are you aware that in ChatGPT you have this GPT like specific assistant that you can create, or that you can create a project that has the same instruction and maybe reference material that always stay the same? Are you aware of that?
So I think I dabbled in that before. I'm always learning something new from you, which I love and appreciate. So I think I dabbled in that before when I was trying to create a different kind of project. But I don't know that I have really integrated that. In fact, I know that I haven't
Mhm.
integrated that, GPT projects. I need to
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah, because I think it would solve the issue, the inconsistency issue, in the sense that you the way I see the situation, right? I see like a kind of a two-step process. Step one, which would be for every of your clients, or well, everyone that you deal with, that you try to book on podcast, which would
Mhm.
be uh, a special assistant whose only role is once and for all look at the bio, look at a page from the prospect, and create a kind of a master document, right? Right.
Yes,
And
yes.
yes, and also, so it could be like a it could have two main purposes: preparing a kind of a brief about the future guest, and then to also prepare a summary document about the podcast, or trying to analyze the podcast that person would be on. And then afterwards, you would then create a dedicated assistant. So it could be a GPT, or it could be a project, but for each of your clients. And that assistant, again, right? You would create a new project. The custom instruction would be identical for everyone, but the difference would be the knowledge. And the knowledge are the documents that you attach to that project.
Oh, that's
And so you would have a
brilliant.
project for each of your clients. And every time you want to book that client onto a podcast, you just go in that project, and maybe you attach, right? You attach the information that has been collected from the podcast you want that guest to be on. And you said, this is the podcast I would like this person to be on. Can you write an intro, again, based on your knowledge about the person and based on your custom instruction that you will have built? And you would have one project per client. Every conversation would be pitching that person to another podcast.
I'm gonna implement that right away. I remember when we were talking before, you taught me about the AI feature in Google
Mhm.
Sheets. I used it that day. Like, it was brilliant. Now, do you know how many times I have struggled I'm not a programmer, I just need to use
Mhm.
my tool. So I have struggled so often to know the formula for generating averages or a data summary or so forth, and I used that tool because when I asked, Gemini, which is another very powerful
Mhm.
AI tool, but when I asked Gemini, it didn't understand what I was getting at. It didn't understand the data that I wanted, but when I used this AI tool in Sheets that you taught me, I made a whole table. And I'm not a programmer. I'm not a software developer, but I created this whole data table based on the information from another sheet. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to tell Damien, thank you." This is great.
Yeah, very good. I'm glad
Thank
I'm
you. Yeah,
glad I'm glad it helped.
I've already started it.
So your homework is to double check the project feature inside ChatGPT.
Yes. I already opened up a new tab right here on my computer. I'm gonna start moving my chats over into projects. That's gonna be my to-do today.
Very good. Yeah, so let's go to the next segment of the show. Which tip or trick did you discover on your Mac recently that you wished you knew before?
Oh, absolutely. This one was an easy one. The text replacement. Now, this is programmable and not enough. Every time I talk to someone about that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I had thought of this." So the text replacement it's not really the predictive text, it's the autofill text that you can use. And what's so amazing about it is that it works across your devices. So if I find myself responding in the same way many times, I'm going to program a predictive text. And I usually use it for appointment setting and sales calls when I'm trying to get a hold of someone or when I missed a call. I have found myself saying, "Hey, I missed you today. When can we circle back?" And I'll find myself saying that multiple times a week. So that's my rule. If I say it more than once, create a predictive text for it. So the predictive text is when you go into your settings and you go into your keyboards and you type in the phrase that you want to use, and then you type in your shortcut for it. So I use shortcuts like 1 exclamation point, 2 exclamation point, 3 exclamation point, shortcuts that I don't find myself typing very often, but that I can remember because I don't want to fill in predictive text while I'm like making a card or something because it'll work across any utility, any software, any program, any app that you're using, it'll fill it in. But I use this for, again, following up on phone calls. So one of them I have is, "Hey, I missed you on the call today. When can we reschedule?" I also have one, it's if I type 3 exclamation point, it'll say, "Hey, I just tried calling, I left you a voicemail." That I use that for personal and
Mhm.
business use. And that I use that for my communications, but what I didn't mention is I also use it for pranking my friends. There was one time I had a buddy of mine, and I knew that he would not be able to figure out why this was happening. He didn't know about the predict, and I'm sorry for anyone that's listening right now that thinks this is is gonna be a victim of this, but it's just too funny. So, I went into the predictive text, and I took the word "no," which is a very common word that we use every day, and I replaced it with the entire Gettysburg Address, which is a 2-minute speech. And so I gosh, I remember hearing like, it was, like, 3 days later, and he's like he had his kids that asked him if they could go out for ice cream, and he said, "No, you need to come home," and then it was, like, 7 years ago, and this whole thing filled in, and he was so frustrated, I finally had to tell him that I changed it for him. So, again, I'm sorry if you're a victim of this prank, but this predictive text has just I'm always looking for ways. I don't know if you're like me where you're always looking for
Mhm,
efficiency hacks where you can just shave a little bit, a half a second here. It doesn't take a ton of time to type out a text, but if it takes, half a second and I can make it take 1.1
mhm,
seconds, or excuse me, zero point 0.1 seconds, then I've saved 30% of my activity there. And or I've saved 60% rather. If I can save 60% of that action, of an action I repeat every day, multiple times a day, then again, I'm getting more time back because I'm having a machine do my work for me. So the text replacement has come in very, 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 very handy. And again, it's because it's not just in your text messages. It works in your CRM. It works wherever you type keys, your predictive text or your replacement text will pop up for you.
mhm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, as you said, it's the compounding effect that is really, some people discard the ability to save a few seconds here, a few seconds there. It's a little bit like in the financial world, huh?
Oh,
It's the
absolutely.
compounding effect that makes it actually very, very useful. Yeah, very good. We are at the end of the show. Where can people find you online, Marianne?
So I'm really active on Instagram. Again, if you text me, I'll be
Mm,
faster because like we said, it's not Facebook Messenger, it's not a total wasteland. But I'm really active on Instagram. I'm there every day. It's me. It's not, my bots
mhm,
or anything, unless you ask my bot to respond to you. But I'll jump in if the bot gets off sideways. But I love interfacing on Instagram. It's just Marianne _Hickman on Instagram. Or people can text me. I'm at 801-509-5495. I'm really fast at responding there, and we can connect and we can talk about, if you want to go Mac utility, talk to Damien. He's the expert on there. But if you're interested in public speaking or using stages to grow your business, that's what
mhm.
I'm all about.
Yeah, very good. I will put links in the show notes so that people can contact you and maybe even find your lead magnet and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Damien. This has been a pleasure to talk about. I don't get to tell these stories very often, so this has been fun.
No, thank you, and I enjoy the conversation and the little side road on the parenting stuff.
I'm always good for a tangent.
Very good. So, if like Marianne, you would like to share how you are using your Mac to run your solopreneur business, it's simple. Just visit macpreneur.com/apply. If you are already on Podmatch, just click on the button and you will land on the show profile. Otherwise, fill the application form and I will get back to you within a few days. Once again, it's macpreneur.com/apply. In the comments below, please share your main takeaway from this episode. And if not done yet, please subscribe to my channel so you will get more helpful tips on how to run your business on your Mac. Until next time, I'm Damien Schroers, wishing you a great day.
Thank you for watching the Macpreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave a comment and share it with a friend right now.